Hello everyone, Namaskar. I am back. I am back with my series, and I am back with my series this time with a very different topic on relationship management with respected Honorable G S Baveja ji. And I would like to thank EEC for joining hands with Igniting Power Engineers. And from today onwards, all the webinars will be conducted as a joint ventures with Power Engineers with EEC. Uh, the topic is about relationship management, and a good life is built with good relationship. A good life also depends on the strength of our relations with family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, and strangers. We must treasure our relationship, not the possessions we have. We also cherish the human connections like relationship with friends and family. We can also improve our relationship with us by leaps and bounds if we become encouragers instead of critics. And so far that business is concerned, the business must establish and maintain good relationship with their business partners and their customer in order to get success. And this is done through only relationship management. And the term relationship management refers to a strategy in which an organization maintain an ongoing level of engagement with its customers and supply chain. And in broad manner, it is of two types: B2C, business to customer, and business to business, B2B type. And relationship management aims to create a partnership between an organization and its patrons, and it is done through sales, service, and analysis of data. And relationship management can also increase the brand loyalty, support inefficiencies, attract new customers and suppliers, and mitigate risk. There are four basic components of relationship management: CRLPS, customer retention, loyalty, profitability, and satisfaction. Before I give introduction about today's speakers, respected GS Baveja, I would like to thank Almighty, my family, my good wishes, my mentors from the core of my heart, my parents, my wife, my son. My mentors include respected PP Bhai Sahab, Anju Chandra Ma'am, KK Murthy Sahab, NK Mittal Sahab, P Ramachandran Sir, S. Paul ji, Hitesh Chauhan ji, and Dr. Kamal Bansal. My friends and well-wishers include Saket Gupta ji, Arvind Thukral ji, Dinesh Singh ji, S.K. Batra ji, Vishendra ji. Last but not the least, my team working day and night 24 into 7 to make this webinar to happen, Gulab and Ram Dhani. And now time to give a brief introduction about Honorable GS Baveja ji. Basically, he is a mechanical engineer and MBA in safety management and construction technology. He is a person with more than 50 years of corporate managerial experience in diversified fields and disciplines. He is a person who has done 130 plus occupational health, safety and environmental audits in different industries, different in India as well as abroad. He is a sustainability assessor qualified from CII and sustainability scrutinizer from DNVGL India. He is a qualified tutor coach from Asian School of Teachers and Bangkok, and he is spearheaded and tailored generic as well as specialized learning and competency building programs and events for national and international organizations and participants. And he's presented and delivered more than 300 training programs in 15 countries, includes Middle East, African continents, East and China. And he has hosted panel discussion, chaired events in international and domestic forums. He's a life member of many prestigious organizations like Indian Society of Training and Development, Society of Power and Energy Professionals. He is also members of Fire and Security Association of India. And for the last 14 years, he has been visiting faculty with premier institutes like Institute of Petroleum Energy Studies, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth Institute of Management Research. And presently, he is holding responsibility as a president, Mumbai chapter, NFE, National Federations of Engineers for Electrical Safety. Now, time to give that stage to respected Honorable GS Baveja ji to make this stage on fire with the experience, the expertise he has. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, Rajesh ji. Wonderful expressions what you have made. I do not know whether I'm worth it or not, but thank you very much. And I really feel humbled based on your expressions about me. Thanks indeed.
My
So
pleasure.
I would like to talk the topic which is close to my heart, and the best and interesting part is that the title of the topic. Let me make it to the full screen. Has it come on full screen? No.
No, no.
Yeah, it has come.
Yes, now it's visible, sir.
Yeah. So once again, thanks indeed to IPE for giving this platform for me to share a subject or a topic which is close to my heart. At the same time, this is one of the topics which has taught me many things over a course of life. The one of the biggest reason is that first 12 years of my career, I was working with the Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, working at different power plants as erection and commissioning engineer, and we were treated by our clients as contractors, though it was PSU, but we were treated as clients. And after I joined Bharat Petroleum Corporation, the table reversed, and BHEL was one of my, so to say, contractors, if I use that word. I may dare to use it, but if I use that word. So I have seen both sides of the story, and I felt that there is a strong need that for people to understand and appreciate the relationship and its management when it comes to corporate culture, when it comes to corporate sectors, when it comes to dealing with different people from different walks of life when we are to do our project or when we are to carry forward our certain activities. And more so, this topic I crystallized well after my delivery of so many programs elsewhere. In one of the particular situation, there was a company, they were trying to have a project in the African continent. They got the project also, but in between the project there were some rough weathers, and this was during pandemic time. Lot of lack of understanding between the relationship of both the parties. So I felt that this is the time when we should try to correlate and try to find out why, what has gone wrong, and how these aspects can be improved upon. So that is where it triggered me to take this topic. And this topic thereafter, almost last 4 5 years, I have taken number of sessions at different platforms, and it had always been liked by whosoever has attended these sessions, especially on this relationship management. So the title, as it says, relationship management is an art or a science. So most of the time people say, oh, it must be an art, because it's really an art. Some people get along very well with most of the people, and some people are very pally, very friendly, very equitable manner they talk, and it is always enjoying to talk to them. So it's an art the way they are making. At the same time, if you look at the commercial side, if we look at the reference being made with respect to business relationship, definitely it is more than art. It needs to be clear understanding of the roles and responsibilities of both sides, clear understanding of the assignments which have been done to both the sides or different stakeholders, trying to understand those specific needs and trying to sort it out needs some kind of a basis which could be called as a science. That's why I say that relationship management is both an art as well as a science. Now, when I sent this flare to few of my other circles, one of the reaction was as under. With due respect to the topic and wisdom behind choosing this topic, I am sharing here some of the spontaneous thoughts on this. And the spontaneous thought given by this colleague of mine, a friend of mine, was that with regard to relationship, especially for personal or family relationship, even to some extent business or professional relationship too, it should be relationship development, its maintenance and nurturing rather than relationship management. I fully subscribe to that, what he says, when we talk of relationship management, it encompasses all these aspects which we have referred in small segments like developing relationship, maintaining relationship, nurturing relationship, and so on and so forth. But if I take the reference of our own families, our own parents, between parent to children and children to parent, do we nurture these relationships? No, we don't nurture. It happens to be there. We don't develop it. We don't maintain it, but it happens to be there. My father is my father. All throughout, he will remain my father. And the kind of respect what I have right from the day one, will continue to be till either he is alive or I am alive. So there is no question of those kind of relationships to be nurtured. So where the nurturing comes into account, the nurturing basically comes into account when we are talking of relationship which are coming later part of the life, maybe starting with the life partner, maybe starting with the courtship when people are having love affair, etc. So that's the time when it calls for nurturing. Quite possible one has to take his girlfriend to 10 times to a movie or 5 times to some kind of a garden or getting the roses and whatnot and whatnot. So that's how the nurturing, I can use this word in a loose sense. But in a real sense, when we talk of nurturing, more important is to understand each other. More important is to understand not only each other's weaknesses as well as plus points. And how can we appreciate the weak points not to be brought to the fore, but the high points to be utilized for mutual benefit, for mutual understanding, for mutual, I should say, complement to each other. That becomes a reference when we talk of developing relationship, maintaining relationship, and nurturing relationship. I think you all will agree with me what I have said so far. Now, there are two pictures here. One of the picture at one side shows that one person is standing at the top and trying to look at down below the hill, nothing but a pond of water. Probably, if I am a top management, I am thinking about how can I make things easy for all my people, my organization, seeing from the helicopters level, trying to find out what best we can do. But at the same time, if I see the second picture, there are peaks and valleys, and each peak and valley has got its own color, its own shade, its own reference, its own depth, its own height. That means each individual is different. Each organization's needs are different. Each group's needs are different. And when we are talking of creating relationship under all these differential circumstances, how do we streamline the relationship is a reference or talk which I am going to do it in today's discussions. So managing improper relationship is always having some kind of a built-in risk. If we are not able to manage the relationship either with the contractor or with the owner or with the subcontractor or with the neighborhood population, probably for me to do my job, for me to do my activities, for me to do my operations of the business will be coming into jeopardy in various counts. So I must have a proper relationship. I must have a proper relationship duly maintained or duly built. Otherwise, it may have its own risk, which may suddenly arise and we will not know why this risk has arisen. Now, if you take the corporates, the current reality in corporates is that everything is moving, nothing is static, everything is dynamic. There are whirlpools and there are peaks and valleys for the organization. And since everything is fluid, be it business, be it liquidity, be it the type of people, their thinking, their education level, the technologies, everything is changing. And under this changing environment, if the corporates have to survive, obviously they have to give some thrust, some understanding, some appreciation with respect to the relationship as well. If I talk of today's corporate realities and if I talk of the references which companies have are required to make, first and foremost, we all know today companies have to recognize the risk management and compliance management as a strategic management and loss prevention model, which we all will agree and you all will really appreciate what I'm saying. Again, every corporate is required to measure and report not only financial performance, but other compliances as well. Increase public awareness as well as among the employees. Today, the advent of media is so high that everybody and anybody has got access to various kinds of information, good or bad, positive or negative, whether it is for individual, whether it is for corporate, whether it is for performance of the corporate. So this has got lot of impact onto the company's way of thinking, onto the way the company top management has to think for how to develop the relationship or foster the relationship. Enhanced international exposure to business and the outcry. If something goes wrong with any of the MNCs, you can imagine something has happened in India, it will have impact to their business in the rest of the world as well. So outcry is very high if there are some kind of a exposure to the businesses. Increase governmental and judicial interventions for various matters. You know, there are many judicial interventions out there. Some of the, you can say that some of the plants have been closed down because of certain government interventions or judicial interventions not complying to the certain rules and regulations. Then if there are non-compliances, there could be deep pocket liabilities, there could be unrest, there could be, you know, labor unrest, there could be other sort of statutory warnings and whatnot. So that also causes a deep liability. You can just imagine recently the case has happened with Indigo, that they served the food just on the tarmac and they have been I should say slapped with a uh, penalty of 1.2 crores and whatnot. Sorry. Okay. So environmental and other risk assessments by various financial institutions has become pertinent, that both Indian as well as international financial institutions are looking at how companies are performing with respect to taking care of the risk, whether it is safety risk or electrical safety risk or environment risk, how they are performing, and everybody is looking at it, what kind of accident ratio you have, what kind of performance you have. Then, of course, there is a lot of word which is happening nowadays. Activism from the pressure group. Pressure group could be peer, could be antisocial, could be any kinds of pressure group. They create pressures onto working set of people, and even sometimes there is a caucus or cartel by the contractors that also creates a sort of pressure on some of the businesses. Especially in logistic business, I know it's very commonly happening. Then to institutionalize systems and greening the supply chain management, including procurement, is again the order of the day. And stringency in industry-related legislations, production-based environmental issues, emission limits, etc. So again, every passing day is adding to such stringencies. Area-specific industry standards are there on environmental standards, and similarly, specific industry standards are there on occupational engagements, wage parity. Wage parity, again, is a new term. I'll just try to explain you. Then proactive compliance-driven tools like voluntary disclosures by the companies or voluntary charter of environmental responsibilities. They are taking, many companies are giving their sustainability reports or corporate sustainability declarations, and so many such things are happening. Coming to the wage parity, recently I was interacting with few of the IT industries, and I came to know this term, what exactly it is meaning. If a person is a developer of a software, whether he sits in US or UK or Germany or anywhere, including India, say Bangalore, they all want, if my business, my type of job and his type of job or her type of job at other countries similar, then why should I get less pay? So everybody should have the same pay. So this is called wage parity. It's a new, fundamental which nowadays HR fraternity has to face it. Then compliance to national codes on various aspects, including electrical safety management. Recently, four major national codes have come up, and in addition, there is a National Electricity Code 2023. There is a CA Regulations 2023. So compliance to all this also is a need of the day. Now, these are all the current realities for any management. So obviously, management or company or whatever you call it. So obviously, all this has got some impact or the other onto the way the relationship management has to be done by a corporate for different types of stakeholders under different circumstances at different geographical situations. So you can imagine how the relationship management is so tricky, and that's why role of relationship in corporate risk management has become very vital. We are talking of risk management just taking into account certain financial risks, certain fraud risks, certain the so-called change of business risk. But I'm talking with respect to entire relationship also has got a lot of impact onto the corporate's risk or onto the managing of the business or onto business sustainability and its growth. I'm sure you will agree with me. And sustainability and business growth, if I talk, it's always a point of reference for any top management to worry about how do I do my business growth? How do I have my sustainability onto my business as well as sustainability onto my growth? So when I talk these words, there has to be some kind of a growth framework and there has to be some kind of a social framework. So recently, I came across with one of these paper cuttings, and it's very interesting. If you see here, the wonderful part is they are talking of changing of time causing a lot of impacts onto the corporates, and obviously there are certain demanding legal standards which are going to come to 2020 2030, and there could be a further higher standards of sustainability for the world to sustain by 2050. So what does it shows that we are to converge a lot of our thoughts, we are to converge many of our standards in such a way that ultimately we are leading to a better planet for future. We are going to give less burden to the current situations which are happening with respect to the pollutions and global warming, etc., etc. So there they are talking of legal standards, they are talking of international standards today, they are talking of best practices. So if you see, legal standards are still very wide and loose, but as you go further you will find that the aperture is coming closer, aperture is coming smaller, so that we reach to the best fit for our planet to be sustainable. And here, the role of responsible stewardship is being taken. Who is doing the stewardship? Stewardship is being done by the top management for that particular organization. We are also talking of the stakeholder engagement. More and more stakeholder engagement will be impressed upon by force of circumstances all around onto the top management. At the same time, we are looking at the last sentence, which are future proofing. How do we create a future proofing for my organization? If I talk of oil and gas sector, probably future proofing requirement is that we should equally look at what are the alternate energy sources. Can we look at hydrogen? Can we look at battery operated vehicles? Can we have battery charging stations? Blah, blah, blah. So looking at future proofing of my business is also the need for the corporates to look at. And that is where the relationship management comes into the fore. And why it is difficult to manage is very simple. I have got 5 fingers. All 5 fingers are not equal. Any organization, if you take top management, under top management, there are many departments, and every department has got set of people. Every set of people have got another set of cluster or group of people. And everywhere the fingers are different. And if you see, the relationship management is literally tough and difficult for the main corporate, because there are many types of thoughts and processes with the individuals. There are many variety of diverse thoughts which are going to impact and relationship becomes very, very critical. Relationship becomes very, very difficult to manage. But still, when we talk of few facts about stakeholder relationship, multi-stakeholder relationship are to face relationship problems. If you have many stakeholders, I am going to face some kind of relationship problem because I cannot satisfy all at one time. I cannot satisfy all the time. So somewhere or the other, there will be a lack of so-called satisfaction, or there could be a dissatisfaction, maybe small or big element, maybe small or big in degree, but that dissatisfaction will cause some kind of a relationship problem. So therefore relationship becomes little hard to sustain. Further, as time goes, one start feeling everything seems perfect and settled. What we see in the marriages, initially we find maybe there is a little rough weather, or maybe there is some kind of a lack of understanding. But over a period of time, it seems perfect, and ultimately it gets settled. That is precisely what happens when we are talking of the stakeholder relationship also. When we are engaging a contractor, initially there might be some lack of understanding. What he understood during the course of tendering, what we have told him, there could be a gap. But when the work starts, obviously if he starts gaining money, then it's perfectly all right. So there are many types of hiccups which are there in any kind of relationship with different stakeholders. It will be a different kind of issues which will be there, and finding a perfect balance to maintain is even harder. Now, when we talk of perfect balance, is my tender document ideal? Probably not. Is the offer what we received is ideal? Probably not. Is the evaluation what we have done is perfect? Probably some imperfections may be there. So when the contractor comes to my place, then I find that there are gaps. So that is where this session of relationship management I'm trying to take, so that I bring some more clarity, whatever I have understood, to the people who are trying to have a good relationship with various stakeholders. Now, let us say different stakeholders, even in same organization, somebody from maintenance, somebody from operations, somebody from engineering, somebody from logistics, somebody from company secretariat. Everyone wears a different hat. Everyone has got a different color of hat. Safety has got different color of hat. Some other department has got different color of hat. It is not for any other reason, but for the reason of being ease of identification. Perfectly right. Sometimes even during the major shutdowns in the plants, we different contractors we do give different color code for ease of identification. So and so is working in electrical side. So and so is working on the boiler side, so and so is working on the turbine side. So we give different color code for the safety helmet or caps. Now, when people are sitting together for a common cause of a corporate goal, you'll find that everybody is looking to be having the face front pro corporate goal, but internally they are thinking, oh, my department, how can I do it? I am engineering department. This is going to put extra pressure onto my people. Are my people ready for that? Discussions are going on. Front face, everybody is saying I am pro corporate goal, but every stakeholder is thinking internally their own department's benefits, their own department's reasonability, their own department's predicaments. It is always happening. It happens in any situation. It could be a corporate or it could be any group of people. People start thinking internally different, externally their behavior is different. It's a fact of life which we all should have to accept it. So that is why most important is that all the inner motives of different stakeholders need to be aligned. If inner motives of all stakeholders is aligned, then everybody will be proactive towards the corporate goals, or proactive towards the common goal of what is to be achieved. And that's why today a lot of motivation classes are there, a lot of alignment classes are there, so that people can align. And there are facilitators who are making a lot of money to make people align to one particular corporate goal, and they are able to do it by way of their wisdom, by way of their sharing experiences to make sure that everybody is aligned to the corporate goal. Now, when we talk of relationship, when we talk of proper sustainability among the stakeholders, most important is clear communication. Choose one point contact in the respective stakeholders. Why I'm saying this one point contact, if I give a reference of just a contractor and the owner, if there are 10 different people I have to interact with, probably as a contractor, I'll be fed up. Similarly, if there are 10 different people on the contractor side, as a owner, I have to deal with, I also will be fed up. So choose one point contact. I'm giving simple examples so you can correlate under your situations and circumstances, and probably it will make some sense. Then select a primary term and conditions well before. So before we start any kind of engagement, we should have a clear terms and understanding what we are doing, how we are doing, what are our references. Like many times when the contract is awarded, there are very clear indications, administrative indications that as far as so and so project is concerned, our contact person, our project manager will be so and so. So all letters will be addressed to him and so on and so. So this is nothing but primary selection of terms and conditions which are known to both the parties. Communicate via visuals if possible. What does it mean that, maybe a proper presentation, maybe people meeting each other, maybe trying sometimes to show the contractor, oh, this is the place where my warehouse is there, you can pick up the material from. There are many ways. So communicate via visuals if possible. Then organization from start to finish. A written detailed description of the scope of the proposal and commitment has to be there from both the sides. So commitment should not be unilateral, it has to be bilateral. I am a owner, and if I am responsible for giving the, let us say, temporary power connection to the contractor who is going to come to my premises to start the work, and if I delay giving him the power connection, obviously he will not be able to start his work. So it's a mutual. So description of scope of proposal and commitment from both sides has to be well understood right at the beginning. And at different stages, what are the hold points where I as a owner will see his job, what are the facilitation which he as a contractor would like to have it. So this should be well spelled out, so that there is no confusion or ambiguity at different levels. Because something is decided at corporate level, working level doesn't know, that also can add to a problem. So provide regular status updates to the concerned stakeholders. Then sometimes we make a phased program, we make a project activities, we make a activity detailing, and at the end of the process, we try to wrap up the activities and have regular reviews. Now, all this is to find out if there is a gap, if there is a estranged relationship, can we sort it out? If there are issues, if I may use the word issue, the issues are created because people are differing on their opinion for the same kind of understanding. The understanding is differing for different reasons, because I see from my side, you see from your side. I see half glass is full, you see half glass is empty. So those kind of lack of understandings are to be streamlined by some facilitation. So allow stakeholders and clients to feel a part of your sustainability team. So many of the places when we say that the company is quite doing their business in a very sustainable manner, and so activities what they are doing, maybe they are hand holding a school. So what they are doing, probably it is sustainable. They have hand held the school. School is running under their CSR. But if you go to the school and if you talk to the teacher, she says, सर हमको तो पिछले 6 महीने से सैलरी नहीं मिला. So this is not a hand holding. This is nothing but trying to, you know, push somebody else to do the job which you are supposed to do. So when we talk of sustainability of stakeholders, sustainability of team, there are many aspects which are there. It could be financial, it could be relationship, it could be authority, it could be responsibilities, it could be division of authorities, and so on and so forth. So we always have to look at how we can contribute to a feeling of collaboration and teamwork. So every time a need for infusing teamwork and collaboration, feeling of teamwork and collaboration is essential wherever the teams are going in a haywire manner. The teams are to be brought together, whether it is internal teams or internal come external teams, it is true for anybody. Then crisis and breaking of interactions if one has proposed. So for any reason, if we have decided that we are going to snap off the relationship, then snapping off relationship has to be done in a very judicial manner, in a very just manner. It should not be a pressing somebody and trying to get an edge over the other. Now, when we talk of a business relationship, there are certain aspects. So, if we say business or commercial, obviously it is related to some kind of engagement, related to some kind of a commerce. It is related with the profitability, having profit as a main goal. But are we talking of relationship only for the profit? Are we talking of relationship for the profit or something beyond? So, when we talk of relationship, it's a state of being related. I am related to so and so as cousin brother, as sister. But when it is a business relationship, I am related to so and so company as their prime vendor. I am related to so and so company, or they are related to me as a good contractor. So friendship, contacts, communication, lot of things will keep existing. So key points are that concerned with the people, contact and communication. So whatever we are talking, we should have good concern with the people and the people. We should have regular contacts and regular communication. Purchasing and supply relationship involves certain kind of degree of closeness. Depends upon what kind of mutual engagements we have. Then entered into a purpose of mutual benefit. If there are associations, we are entered into that association for some purpose of mutual benefit. It could be association in terms of joint venture. It could be association in terms of some kind of a common cause. So it's a mutual benefit. Then important to establish effective relationship with the suppliers. Why it is important to have effective relationship with the suppliers? Obviously, you all can appreciate if there is a good relationship with my supplier, I will have uninterrupted supply and I can continue with my production. So nature of an effectiveness of a relationship will vary with the circumstances, with the importance of buying organization of the suppliers, products or services. So depending upon what kind of need is there, what kind of mutual benefits are there, accordingly, this relationship will depend, intensity of relationship or nurturing of relationship or management of relationship or maintenance of relationship will depend upon that. Now, whom do we come across as far as relationship is concerned? Within the family, with siblings, within the business, with different people in walk of life, and sometimes within the family also there could be some kind of a conflict. So when we are talking of relationship, we have to look carefully onto any areas of conflict, why that conflict is arising. Is there any way that those conflicts can be sorted out? Or is there any way that conflict should not emerge at all in future? So conflict management needs importance. Now, if I talk of selection of interactions with the kind of need what is there, so there is some few words are there like innocence. The organization uses a large number of vendors, suppliers, other associates and selects them on a random fashion. And there's a clear scope of improvement. So most of the organizations, if you see, they just pick up a large number of vendors. And many times these large number of vendors, uh, for various reasons, they start taking advantage from the organization. Sometimes we go a little more deep into that and we try to find more about the vendor, his capacity, because our the more critical our item is, the more time we'll spend in the beginning to be aware, to know about that vendor. Similarly, the vendor will also be more critical to know more about the company or how they are into their payments. अरे यार, एक बार बिल सबमिट करो, 6 महीने बिल का पेमेंट नहीं आता है, वो फलाना फलाना मैनेजर जो है ना, वो हर टाइम उसमें कीड़े निकालता है. Those expressions are also there, but awareness why it is there, because again it will be instilling some kind of a good relationship between the vendor and the contractor. Then sometimes we have to go a little more deep into the understanding. The organization has reduced the number of vendors and suppliers because they wanted to reduce the too much of paraphernalia of vendors, so they have restricted the number of vendors and given more benefit to less vendors, so that they can have better supplies, timely supplies, good relationship, good working relationship. So this is another trend which is there. I know some of the companies, especially in private sector, they are looking at how they can reduce their large number of vendors. Especially in automobile industry, I have seen they are very particular how they can reduce the large number of vendors and ancillary units. Why not they develop their own ancillary unit and so on and so forth. And when we have to go more into such kind of things, we look at competence. If we are trying to take them as a partner, if we are trying to take them as a full-time supplier, if we do not have multi-sourcing avenues, then obviously we look at the competence of the individual who is going to work as a contractor. Then, of course, if we are to optimize the profits and benefits, we look at strategic objectives, then we have to be looking at excellence of relationship, and that is what will be the sustainable for a long time. I'll give you a little more details about it. And sustainability of stakeholders, each plays their own role. Bankers could be one of the stakeholders for us. Customers could be stakeholders. Investors could be stakeholders. Legal authorities or statutory authorities could also be stakeholders. Employees, of course, are our stakeholders. And if we are talking of all these stakeholders, we have to look at what kind of responsible stewardship my management takes or we take at our levels with different stakeholders and vice versa, and what kind of future proofing we have, so that even under changing circumstances, at least I will be able to bank on them. I'll be able to get their support to get my business going. Then there are competitive relationship. If there are, you are having a competitive bidding, there are competitive relationships. So we always look at the best price possible from the suppliers. Buyer tries to squeeze the supplier's profit margin. Yes, should we reach to a level of win-lose, or should we have a level of win-win? So here there is a lot of questions which you may have, but I will be having answers for most of them, because we are unfortunately stuck with lowest code. Yes, we are stuck with lowest code, but when we are stuck with lowest code, we also have to look at my purpose is met. And if my purpose has to met, more important is what kind of tender specifications we have prepared. Then it should be professional and ethical. Obviously, everybody is talking of ethics in business, everybody is talking of professionalism in business. If we are talking of professionalism in business and ethics in business, it has to be a fair deal. Then buyers may argue regularly with suppliers representative and complain regularly about the products and services. Many times we want to avoid a particular contractor. The moment he comes to our room, we start telling him, "Arey, तुम्हारा तो वो बेकार था यार. It is मजा नहीं आया. So and so supplies we are done. You go and see in the field, the pipeline is not straight, it is hanging, it is dangling." So we start finding faults. Before he raises his points, we try to start finding faults. Now these kind of statements, or these kind of expressions to any supplier or any contractor will have very adversarial relationship, and it will create a very bad blood among the two parties. Then sometimes we have only transactional purchasing. I just go to a shop, pick up a pen and a sharpener for my daughter who has just started a school. So my this particular business is only transactional. I have gone, I have paid the money, I picked up that, and I am back home. Second time when I go, probably he will ask me, "आपका बच्चा कौन सी क्लास में पढ़ता है?" Why he is asking? Because he wants to improve his relationship with you, to get more avenues for the business. Probably he will say, मेरे पास books भी हैं, मेरे पास copies भी हैं, मेरे पास drawing sheets भी हैं. So he is trying to build some relationship so that you become a dedicated customer to him. So this we have seen in the life every time, every day, these things are happening. Then when we talk of competitive business for competitive bidding for contracts, yes, when we talk of competitive, that means there is going to be a stiff competition. There is going to be a corner cutting, if I may use the word. How it can be competitive? It can be only by cutting the corners. And many competing suppliers will be there. So sometimes the suppliers may really have some edge over the other supplier. Maybe they are close to the supply of steel and they are able to do it. Maybe they have got some steel of the last batch which is purchased 2 years back. That time the prices were less and they are able to do it a little cheaper. But today's price, the other supplier may or may not be able to do it. So this competitive bidding and many competing suppliers, they got different reasons to compete. I'll give you one example. In one of the contracts we floated in the refinery, and we wanted XLP cable about 650 meters. And our internal estimate, we had taken it, this I'm talking about 86, 87 story. Uh, our internal estimate was about 1,39,000 rupees, and the contractor who quoted lowest, he quoted less than 90,000 rupees for supply of cable. And we were wondering, because we had taken the budgetary quote from the Indian Cable Corporation, and we were quite flustered that how we can give at a cheaper rate. So everybody was thinking, why not we disqualify this fellow? I said, no, let us not disqualify. Let us call him and find out. Because those days there was no problem with respect to calling a lowest bidder for any conversation. That time those vigilance and audits issues were not that much very heavy. So we called this guy, and in front of 4 or 5 people, including my finance guy, we asked him that how you are able to supply this cable so cheaper, which is lesser than the factory cost or the manufacturer's cost. So what he said really amazed us. He said, "Sir, do you remember 2 years back you had asked me to buy similar cable about 150 meter? As a fool, instead of buying 150 meter, I bought 1 full kilometer, and the whole roll is lying in the refinery, and it's very easy for me to give that 650 meters to you, and that's why my old block money I'll be able to set it right or set off, and that's why I have given such a cheap quote. Now, should we accept it or should we not accept it? That was the question. And as a technical people, you all will say we should not accept it. But what we did, we called the Indian Cable Corporation. We asked them, this is the cable supplied by you. Can you please certify that even after 2 years of lying, it has not deteriorated and its IR value is okay? And if you say after measuring, etc., if you say it can be used for the purpose, then probably we can use it, but guarantee you have to give. So we got a counter guarantee from Indian Cable Corporation for that particular cable, and we used it. Now, what I mean to say, the competing suppliers could be having many reasons to give you at a competitive rate. But if we do not analyze, then probably there is a possibility of lack of understanding, and that can cause a problem. Then, of course, there are typically standard products. So for standard products, we have got nothing much to say but to buy as is available. Then if there are wide supplied market, then obviously your entire business of relationship will be transactional. Itna chairs chahiye, itna 50 chair de do, matter end. So it is just a wide supply. Many people are available to supply the chair and table. No need for or benefit from the higher degree of trust. So here it's a one-time business, one-time association and matter ends. But when we talk of long-term association, there obviously we have to look at the relationship. Here, sometimes supplier has got no power, sometimes buyer has got no power, and we are guinea pig of the suppliers. Now, let us look at collaborative relationship. Same type of situation. There are benefits of doing business together arise from ideas of sharing as well as exchanging. There are many good suppliers. They will not only good contractors and suppliers, they will not only do the business for you, they will also guide you how to improve, how to take care of your some of the mistakes which have happened in design. They will come forward. So this will give a long term of relationship between supplier and the organization. Buying organized supplier will have a long term relationship because some kind of trust is being built. Both organizations share common interest. Both benefit from adding value in the supply chain. Suppliers participate with buyer looking for improvements and innovations. Now, if you take pharmaceutical industry, this is very common because they buy some raw materials or bulk drugs, and also they have their own, the formulations from the bulk drug. So they try to find out what more can be added so that they can have a niche product, and that niche product can be easily giving them more benefits over there. Parties jointly set targets for improvements in cost and quality. Now, let us say, I'm giving an example. If Maruti Suzuki is a company which is every 3 months is coming out with new model, is it possible for any company to invest that kind of money in dies? So what they do, they will have a continuous research team and a separate set of people who are making dies for them. And those die manufacturers come out with different ideas. This shape could be like this, which is jointly agreed, and they jointly set target for improvements. And in these improvements, sometimes it's a gain for quality, sometimes it's a gain for newness, sometimes it is gain for a cost effectiveness as well. So these are the types of relationship which are collaborative relationship. Meet regularly to discuss the progress. Proactive relationship looking for improvements, not a long-term cozy customer-supplier relationship. And these are various aspects where we talk of collaborative relationship. And a relationship develops over a period of time. Yes, with the growing trust, with the length of relationship provides reassurance. I can be banking on so and so supplier. I can be banking on so and so contractor. I can be comfortable working with so and so customer. So these are the kind of advantages when we talk of having a building relationship and developing the confidence of each other, mutual confidence. Suppliers assigning specific assets to the exclusive use of working on order for that customer. Today, there are many companies, they have got dedicated ancillary units to produce some product only for Suzuki, only for Kirloskar, and or maybe only for Godrej. So these are the dedicated ancillary units. So they are nothing but they have got very, very exclusive use of the, or sometimes they I should say, rent out their machinery and equipment for usage by another company. So these are all different types of relationship. So collaborative relationship has got benefits to vendors, suppliers, associates, as well as it has got benefits to the organization who are looking towards the collaboration. I will not read the whole slide. I'll just give it across to you. But yes, the meaning is that competitive, when it is a competitive approach, it squeezes the profit margin of the supplier. And by doing so, the buying organization obtains some of the values that supplier would otherwise keep for himself. So this is where we talk of win-win situation. We should not have just competition. We should have, if possible, the collaborative approach of relationship, which can last long and which can give long-term benefits to both the parties. And you might be aware, many of the companies, if they find good relationship, they also come into the collaboration in terms of creating a sort of joint venture as well. Okay. And cozy relationship versus supply partnership. So supply partnership are not cozy relationship between customer and the supplier, whereas partner brings improvements to the supply chain and a cozy relationship does not bring it. So supply partnership is much more advantageous for any kind of relationship which is happening between the supplier and the owner or contractor of the owner. So there is a beautiful relationship spectrum which is important for us to understand at this point of time. The relationship spectrum, if we talk of distant relationship, probably adversarial, once in a while. Hardly any time it is required. Go and buy a pen and pencil and that's all. Then there are relationship where we say arm's length. अरे यार उसको यार थोड़ा लंबे से रखो. But जब जरूरत होगी उसको बुला लेंगे. Some of such typical, nagging type of contractors or nagging type of, users are there. So we always keep them at an arm's length. Then there are transactional. We do the transactions, we finish up that job, and that's over. Then there are closer tactical relationship where we want to have some kind of a tactical benefit, like you have annual maintenance contract. It's a tactical closeness. Any kind of an annual maintenance contract with the equipment manufacturer who has supplied 10 years back, you will have to have a good relationship with them. And that is tactical only for that purpose of maintaining that particular equipment. Then you have single source. Single source में तो आप तो जो भी काम कराना है भैया दादा करके हाथ जोड़ करके भी आप काम कराओगे if it is a single source. Then today there is a fad of outsourcing. Many things we are outsourcing. Outsourcing really means the partner who I'm taking it for a outsourcing, he must understand my business fully. He must understand my weak points and high points fully. Then only we will be able to do the outsourcing. Many companies I know, they are not comfortable in outsourcing. They say, no, no, we'll have a contract engagement, but we'll not outsource these jobs. Because outsourcing will also mean that you will be sharing a lot of technical details and technology to the person who is going to do work for you on an outsourcing. That's another type. Then we call it as a strategic alliance. Strategic alliance for a purpose. You create a special purpose vehicle and two, three parties align, like you have the metro rail projects, many places, somewhere Tata is doing along with Japanese company, L&T is doing along with some other company. So these are all strategic alliance. They call it special purpose vehicle is created, agreement is created, based on agreement it is being done. Then we have the partnership. Partnership means you are partnering with them for certain profits, certain loss, etc. And of course the ultimate is co-destiny. We swim or we drown together. We start something together and we swim and we drown together. So this is another type of relationship. So it's a whole spectrum of relationship, starting from distant relationship to the most closest relationship, what we call it co-destiny. So each of the relationship, there are certain characteristics from both sides. Both sides means I'm talking of the buyer side as well as supplier side. So they are given over here, whatever I have mentioned as the names. So these are the characteristics which are given. I'll not read these slides, but it will be passed on to you. You can go through it. So each of the relationship type has got certain characteristics, and those characteristics, if they are well understood, it is very easy for us to maintain the right type of tab onto the relationship with the party and among our people. There are transactional relationship, just one of a kind, and we have transactional relationship. Actually, this slide should have come earlier, but unfortunately, by mistake, it has come later. Then, of course, partnership, when we talk of, yes, uh, one company by name Partnership Sourcing Limited, they have defined what kind of characteristics of partnership stakeholders should be there. So top level management commitment, long-term relationship has to be looked into. Involvement by all the relevant disciplines and functions. So proactive approach is required at different levels. Customer and supplier working together is important for the total quality management philosophy. Then spirit of openness and trust between supplier and customer is mainly to create flexibility. And that's how we have clear joint objectives. Based on clear joint objectives, these kind of partnership stakeholders can be taken care of. So what are there are 7 types of stakeholder relationship which are given here, where customer has a high spend with the supplier, where customer faces high risk, where product supplied is technically complex, and where product supply is vital to buyer's organization is technically complex. So high hassle area. And For the supply of new product or services, many times we are naive, we do not know. Supplier is also new. We are also trying to find out a new product. Obviously, we learn together. And in a restricted supply market, there could be a lot of reliability factors involved, and that's where we need to look at the competency of the party, whether they can deliver and do it or not. So we are talking of so many aspects in relation to the various types of stakeholder engagement. And when we are talking of stakeholder engagement, obviously the communication becomes very vital. And communication, there are many ways by which the communications is being done. It could be weekly communication, it could be through training and development, it could be through health safety committee meetings or quarterly all employee meetings. So different kind of communications channels are available, and those channels can help in building the relationship with the different stakeholders. Now, there are certain principles we can say for relationship as well as responsibility management. So one has to be clear about the statement of principle. The scope should be clear, what kind of cost it is going to have, what kind of services are involved from both sides, what are the forecasts which are required to be done, what are the technical improvements which we are expecting, and is there opportunity for a continuous improvement, and what are the objectives if we are trying to look at the business partnership and trying to look at the sustainable business, and what could be the hardships which will be coming on the way and how to tide over that. So relationship and business has got many kinds of aspects and topics to be dealt with. And each of these topics and aspects, there are guidelines which are given here. You can go through it. Obviously, many times we must have a clarity on how to have our exit route. What will be the exit strategy? What kind of termination we should have? What kind of confidentiality we should have? So whenever we are looking at bigger business, larger relationship, long-term relationship, complex products or projects, all these aspects come into the picture during developing relationship and also at the time of closing the relationship. So I can say that the progressive business and sustainability relationship is not an act of heroic or a singular deed. One, it is not a one-man show. It is the all the stakeholders who are involved in the process, both from owner side as well as the contractor side, has to be partnering in it, and they all have to play their role, and they all have to co-live together so that they create that co-destiny, trying to have a common target, trying to find out a common reference so that the relationship and the business and progressive of the business can be continued, can be sustained. So that is where I look at it. Similarly, there is a statement that relationship is neither a nut and bolt nor a game of chess. So we cannot think that because I have killed his pawn, so I am the winner. No, it is not killing or killing the pawn or the queen. It is not killing the rook or anything, but it is basically trying to have a right kind of progressive relationship so that the business and business sustainability can be continued for the benefit of the business, for the benefit of overall relationship between the two individuals as well as to group of people as well as to organizations. So just to put it slightly in a different way, as we have seen earlier, there are transactional relationship, there are value-added relationship, there are specialized relationship, and there are also unique relationship. So unique relationship definitely refers to some kind of a co-destiny, some kind of a shared risk, shared investment, deeply integrated, mutually dependent. So this is how the whole cycle of relationship hovers upon, and it could be very, very adversely, very, very transactional. But the more we go closer to it, the more we are trying to get deep into the business, the more we have to look at how we can have a unique relationship. If you see, there are many of these small companies, those who are IT startups, after some time, when they reach to a certain level, they get merged with the some big company because they get value on that. They have done their own value addition. They get value on that. They have got a specialized product, and it is so unique that people do not mind buying it as a wholesome and partaking the business and trying to share the risk and investment both in. So this is how the present business is happening. But unfortunately, in our country, sorry to say, many times we are saddled in this situation. मैं तो ऊपर जा रहा हूँ पर कोई मेरे को पीछे खींचने वाला है. So under these circumstances, it becomes very difficult. Somebody is trying to grow up some organization, some individual, some group of people, but somebody is trying to put the leg behind or trying to take out our pants behind, and it becomes very difficult for us to move forward. So let us try to avoid pulling legs of somebody. Let us try to avoid somebody pulling down. Let us move forward. Let us go ahead with the positiveness towards the business, towards the relationship, towards the sustainability of relationship and the business growth. So this is all I have to say. And it's always a point of interest for the top management as well as the different levels how to do it. And relationship is one of the most critical matters and crux of the matter between the people, between the organizations, between the department, inter-department, intra-department, intra-organization, and so on and so forth. And there is no one low, there is no one high. Everyone is contributing, and whosoever is contributing is part and parcel of the band of the relationship.
Great.
So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, sir,
I'll
first
be
of all, I would like to say thank you very much once again for this wonderful, interactive, mind-blowing, informative, and new in nature kind of session from your sides. Hats off to you, and thank you once again for accepting the invitation. I could understand many new terms like wage parity, and the important thing was future proofing. Set targets for improvements, cutting edge uses, cozy relationship, collaborative and competitive relationship. I could understand all these thing in a very lucid manner, and the examples given from your side is very good. Now I would like to request people to raise their hand to ask the question direct from the respected GS Baveja ji. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand. We will unmute you, and you will be able to question directly to Baveja sir. Any question from any participant? Rajesh Nigam ji, great session and well explained well. Very good. Any question? Okay, sir, I have one question because I was
please, please.
two, three different words. I just want to understand one thing, that was cutting edge versus competitive. In cutting edge system for competition. And can you give some examples? I want to understand.
Yeah,
For live example from market, can you give any examples of cutting
yeah,
edge?
sure. Yeah. See, uh, when the COVID started, there are many kinds of products which mushroomed,
Okay.
but very few stayed for a long time. Especially when we talk of those, a small gadget for checking the pulse rate, checking the heart rate. Many companies came into that, and they flooded the market starting from 500 rupees up to 3,500 rupees each. Now, there was only one product out of those 50, 60 which came in the market at that time, which was really good, lasted. It has got its, the battery life is pretty good. And whosoever used, they said, "Arey yaar, nothing to beat like that." So it is something which was cutting edge at that point of time as the best product. Just to give you one example, or other example could be any new product which is launched into the market, which is better than the earlier one, giving a better service, and not only they claim, but also the delivery of the service is there. So that is like cutting edge. There are many examples for that.
Okay, when we talk about cutting the corners to get
Cutting
completely
the
the answer.
corner is a different matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Cutting the corner, I'll tell you. I went to one of the power stations, and I was doing the audit. When I was going to the boiler, practically every step going towards boiler was having a little bit of bend in.
Okay.
Every step. I'm going to the boiler area. I have gone to 3 floors and find every step is bored. So when I came back, and the boiler had some fatalities also, and we had gone to do some audit and assessment why that failure had taken place. The whole roof refractory has collapsed and 4 people died. So after visiting the site, when I came to the executive director and was asking him, भाई ये क्या है आपका जो एक एक स्टेप भी आपका बेंड है, ये क्या चक्कर है? बोले नहीं साहब, लोग सामान लेके जाते हैं इसलिए वो बेंड हो गया। अरे सामान लेके जाते हैं, सामान लेके तो जाने के लिए ही है ना।
Mhm.
If the person is not carrying the tool, if the person is not carrying 30 tons of 30 kg of weight or 50 kg of weight, which manually he can do, why you should use the lift?
True.
Then he gave an answer to me, which was quite right. He said, "Sir, look, this is a Chinese material.
Hmm.
There was a bidding. BHEL was 30% costlier, and our owners preferred to buy Chinese, and this is how they have cut the corners. So instead of giving a proper straight, proper flat, proper checker plate, proper support to the checker plate, they had simply given the checker plate. Now
Great.
this is cutting corner. Nobody will come to know. Only when you start using, you come to know about it.
And in the presentation, you discussed about you called some corporation, cable corporation, to ascertain that the cable laying in that system was okay, even after 2 years of lying in the stores. But in the present scenarios, have to take a call on the same situation. What should be done? What do you think?
Present to take a call on the.
Same issue in the present scenario. Suppose one cable is lying in store for two
Yeah.
years, and to whom should I connect with in that case? Am I allowed to purchase that low bid cable from any manufacturers?
May not be, because there will be many questions on
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
and there will be, people will attach it a different motive for you.
Yes.
That should not happen, because today's
Mhm.
context, the way the vigilance regulations are,
Yes.
the audit regulations are, probably it may not be possible, because they say that whatever is their estimate, within 10% plus minus the estimate, the purchasing should be done. But I have got one more question to say over there. Yesterday, in one of the WhatsApp groups, I reacted also that this 10% business comes from where? How do we prepare the estimate? What is the logic of our estimate? Most of the time, our estimates are last purchase value
Yes. Yes.
plus when it was purchased 2 years back, add escalation
Some
of 2 years.
station point
That
is
is not correct. Adding escalation is not correct. Have you added escalation? Have you added escalation of material? Have you added escalation of manpower cost? Have you added escalation of the actual manufacturing cost? See what it was 3 years back before pandemic and what is after pandemic. The prices have escalated like anything. Then there are market sensitivities. The market sensitivity, let us say, I'll give you one example. Uh, Sterlite plant of copper has closed down at Tuticorin. Suddenly, international copper market went up like anything. And any motor you purchase at that time, it will be more than 30% of the estimated cost or 50% of the estimated cost. Because copper prices went almost about 300 times. Now, this market sensitivity has to be applied when people are making the estimates. It is not just copy paste and you apply escalation formula and that's enough. No, we have to look at the market sensitivity of the each of the item, the way it is being manufactured, major material cost, major manpower cost, and if there are any changes which has happened, geopolitical changes which has happened, because everything impacts.
yeah, true. And in the presentation, you talked about unique relationship in your slide when you're talking about different type of relationship we have.
Yeah,
And in unique relationship, you are dependent on your vendor because you don't have any other option but to be dependent on that one. In
yeah,
that case, what to do?
you are 100% right. And that is where I am very happy the way the automobile industry is managing. 10,000 cars per month, they are coming out.
Okay.
Any factory, you take Kirloskar, you take Suzuki, you take anyone, 10,000 cars per month they are coming out. Not even a single small item is missing. And each car, if you see, there are more than 25,000 pieces of items which are getting assembled. Some
True.
are being assembled by themselves, some are coming from ancillary units. Even if one product is not coming in time, their whole cycle will stop. That is where it is called for unique relationship. And
Oh,
unique relationship means we are together in it. So I have seen, I went to one of the shock absorber companies and I asked them that, how do you do it? They said, sir, our entire quota is picked up by so and so company at so and so place. So we are manufacturing at Chakan, Pune, but we are supplying it to 10 different ancillary, 10 different manufacturers, and all the shock ups are different.
oh,
Sizes are different, lengths are different, the spring quality is different, and we are making that many types, but we are supplying, we are making sure it reaches to them on time because their chain should not stop.
okay. And you have discussed about very important point that is the inner motive needs to be aligned for all parts of group in the organization.
Yeah,
How to do it? What is your mantra for that?
good question. And that is where invariably uh, it has to be a co-created scenario. If it is a co-created vision, if it is a co-created targets, if it is a co-created, I should say, the way of working, then probably everybody will be aligned to that. But if it is not co-created, everybody will have their own hang-ups because here I am talking of not a top-down, ऊपर से हुक्म आ गया और मैं करूंगा, वैसा नहीं है. हम सब मिलके करेंगे, हम
Good.
सब साथ हैं. That is where co-creation is required. So each of the targets, when they are being set for a department, if it is co-created by all the stakeholders, then it becomes very easy because everybody will own it. Otherwise, ownership will not come.
True. And because that topic is quite vast and that can't be discussed in one webinar, or that there should be series of webinar on that same topic with
I
respective.
got many good friends sitting here in this group. Mr. Rajesh Nigam is there, very respectable person, my close friend. Mr. Jay Falke is there, and Mr. Kapoor was also there. Ashok Kapoor, I think he has left. I
And
would like to have comments from some of them. How did they find the session?
already the people have given comments, very
Okay,
informative, very exciting. There is no doubt about it. It was mind blowing, in fact, wonderful. And with that, I would like to say thank you to all the participants and thank you once again to Baveja sir for sparing your
thank you very
invaluable
much.
time for
And
Igniting Power Engineers and EEC collaboration. Thank you once again. And we
thank
will invite you again for another topic. Thank you, sir.
my
Thank you.
pleasure. It will
Thank
be
you,
my
sir.
pleasure to talk on such a platform. Thanks for giving this platform, and God bless all of you. Thanks
Thank you.
indeed for
Thank you.
your wise comments and I mean such a good platform which you have given to me and patient hearing.
Thank
Thanks
you.
indeed.
Thank you, sir.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you all. Thank you.
Thank you.